Okay, do we like the Barbie lighting? I think this is super dark, but we're just gonna roll with it. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are having a great start to the new year. I'm very excited about all of the writing projects that I want to work on this year. However, I feel like over the holidays, I felt like my brain was a little bit like on a treadmill creatively. I have been writing the hardest part of my manuscript, which is the climax. It's like very emotionally grueling, and I've also been trying to figure out what new books I want to work on. And it didn't really feel like a real holiday season. But anyways, I'm off topic. This is a writing vlog. Basically last week I decided to do something very drastic. It was a writing vlog, but it was also a writing experiment. Most of my writing gets done in the evenings, and I decided to kind of like change things up a little. For 5 days, I tried to do most of my writing in the mornings instead of in the evenings. So the reason that I call this like drastic is because I am a hardcore night owl. 2 a.m., 3 a.m. bedtime is very normal for me. It truly was a mission to wake up and write first thing in the morning. It's just not how I'm wired as a human being. So it was very strange. However, I did want to try it out because I had a week off from work and I thought, why not? If I'm gonna like switch up my routine, might as well be now. New year, new me or whatever. And I talk about this like in the vlog as well, but the aesthetic side of YouTube or StudyTube, BookTube, AuthorTube, I feel like mornings are really romanticized. And I like mornings, like not like anti-morning or anything. And I do think that they can be conducive to productivity. But at the same time, I've just like never been a morning person. I've always wanted to be, because the aesthetic around like getting up early is something that you see all the time. You know that meme that's just like, don't talk to me after I've had my coffee. It's like, I'm really that bitch. But I thought it would be fun to kind of do this writing experiment to see how my writing would be affected by changing up like the time of day that I write. Anyway, that is all for this intro. As usual, I was drafting my adult fantasy novel, Project Night, which I've been drafting since July. It's almost done. It's in the home stretch. You can see for yourself how this whole thing worked out. Day one was a freaking struggle, as you will see. I literally could not get out of bed, so I wrote from bed. I didn't really do any new writing. I was basically just making edits to my outline, and I did that for 45 minutes, and then I literally went back to sleep for like an hour, and then I woke up an hour later and did some actual writing. Okay, we're back. So it's like 2 p.m. now, and I was just extremely exhausted. Here's the situation. The draft has she's really, oh God, there's just a lot of things moving around. In the last vlog, I was talking about how Act 4 is like a shorter act. Yeah, that's changed. I've kind of like reformatted the draft. I split Act 1 into 2 parts because it was really long. So yeah, now there's 5 sections, just because I felt like there was like a natural break in the middle of part 1 or Act 1. And the reason that I decided to essentially re-outline Act 4 was because originally I was just kind of gonna be pantsing some of the details in between the plot beats. However, a lot of the key plot beats have changed. I shouldn't even say changing. It was more like I was ironing out the payoffs of certain characters' internal conflicts. I was trying to figure out kind of the best way to make the payoffs of their arc work and hit in the context of the external conflict. I had a lot more clarity about how I wanted this book to end. And it's not like the ending has changed significantly, but it's more like the moment to moment scenes, I guess. I had a much clearer picture of what I wanted those to look like, so I decided to just like outline it. I just wanted to jump in because once again, I am making no freaking sense. I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that, you know how character arcs, you know what a character arc is? Basically, like when you're planning out what you want a character's journey to be, who they are at the end of the story is different from who they are at the start of the story. Or like they go through ups and downs, they change, they evolve, they change their opinions on things, or their motivation changes. And so that's kind of what I meant here by the payoff of their internal conflict, where it was like I was trying to figure out how exactly I wanted certain characters to evolve, and that's the part that I was talking about in terms of like ironing out the details of the character arc. I feel like the way that I was explaining it was so convoluted, but also, just for the record, I was like extremely sleep deprived for this entire vlog. So whenever I'm outlining a first draft, typically the first draft is honestly like part of the outlining process. This has happened with like my previous books before. I can usually outline pretty comfortably the first 50 to 70% of the story, but then when you hit that last act, that's when things often start to shift. The broad strokes of the ending haven't changed since the first outline, but I think what happens to certain characters have changed a little bit, and I think that really colors the tone of the ending. And that's the kind of stuff that's really hard to plan for in an outline. Anyways, yeah, that's basically the draft update. I'm gonna get to working now. Tomorrow is a new day, and we're gonna see if we can get some more morning writing in. I started day 2 a little bit later than yesterday. I was a lot more productive, got out of bed, so I was way more awake. I spent the morning mostly working on brainstorming and my prologue. Hi, hello. It is the end of day 2 of this writing experiment, and I did not vlog too much today. I feel like I've kind of been in like a weird headspace today. You know when you're like really immersed in your draft, and then when you like come out of your writing session, you're kind of like life doesn't like feel real. That's kind of like how I've been feeling the entire day today. I've been trying to decide whether or not this book needs a prologue. I took the scene that I originally wrote as the prologue and I found a better place for it, and I was like editing it, and I have like a new idea for what I want the prologue to be, but tonally it's like it's strange. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I think I'll write for at least another hour. My original plan for this vlog was that I would just like write in the morning, and then like my evenings would be cleared, but I didn't write as much as I wanted to this morning. I'm kind of gonna like break that rule and I'm gonna write a little bit right now. I'm not gonna lie though, like this whole morning writing thing is really difficult for me. I feel like my brain isn't as active in the morning. I'm very slow, immerse myself into the draft. Honestly, this has been so much harder than I thought it was gonna be, and we're only on the second day. I've also been spending a lot of time today reading. This morning / afternoon, I was reading a little bit of, oh my god, I don't even know what it's called. It's like the third book in the Carry On trilogy by Rainbow Rowell. I was kind of just reading that because it's like light and fluffy. Tonight I was reading, well, it was more like I was rereading because I've already read this book, but I was reading a little bit of Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I think this is like one of my favorite books of all time. I finally like picked up my own copy because I want to like reread it and annotate it and stuff like that. And yeah, that's the plan. Day 3, I did some writing and reading. I liked reading over what I worked on previous day in the morning. I do feel like my eyes were a lot fresher and I was just way too tired to write new words. Okay, so day 3, how am I feeling? I'm feeling awful, actually. For some reason, I really thought that this whole experiment was gonna go like way better than it has been going. So yeah, I have basically been writing and reading on and off since like 8 a.m. I took like a couple YouTube breaks, posted a video this morning and everything. I felt a lot more focused this morning than I did for the last 2 days, but it still has not been easy. I still feel like the quality of my writing is better like in the afternoon and evening. So the bad news is that my draft has been like stuck at 75,000 words for the longest time. The good news is, I guess the silver lining, I think I have like a solid foundation for a draft too. Like I think I'm probably not going to make all of the changes in the draft that I want to make now in this draft. I think the word count is going to be like, I think the word count might be over 95,000 words, maybe, which was kind of like my cutoff. But I realized that like having a word count cutoff for draft one just doesn't really make any sense. And then I'll figure out in revision how I want to maybe make my scene construction a little bit more efficient. Just checking in, it's 4 p.m. I'm so sleepy. It's like a very it's different waking up early because I have work. Like if I don't have work or an appointment, waking up any time before like 11 a.m. is extremely difficult for me. I'm so tired. Writing is going very slowly right now. However, I did make a playlist for project night. Basically right now it's just like a little bit of jazz, a little bit of Taylor Swift. The reason I'm like an overwriter is because whatever I think in the moment, I just write it. You just figure out later whether it's worth cutting or not. Maybe that's why all my writing is so bad, because like I don't leave the house. It's like maybe if I just left the house. Day 4, as you can see, I was really starting to slip in the morning. I think I was rereading a bit of an old manuscript in this clip. Then I went to pick up some coffee, dropped off a Christmas present for my friend. And then in the afternoon, I did some actual writing for project night. I was actually very focused for this writing session and pretty happy with my output. Hello. It is the end of day 4 of this experiment. So we're almost there. I had like a solid writing session today, so I wouldn't be mad at myself for stopping, but I think I am gonna keep writing into the evening because I'm still in a writing mood. I'm writing a very pivotal chapter right now. I think I'm gonna like write a little bit more of this chapter, take a break for dinner, and then I'll come back to the draft. Day 5 was a very slow start. I did some reading and then I just got ready for the day. I didn't start my writing session until noon, which I guess is technically me kind of failing this experiment. I'm so glad I decided to only commit to 5 days because I honestly don't think I could have done this any longer. I am almost done writing this scene. I've been writing this scene for like, I think at least 3 days now. There's a lot of emotional and physical devastation. It's not the type of chapter that I would like wake up and be like, yes, I can write this at like 8 a.m. What I've found is that it's hard for me to like start my writing session writing this scene. So yesterday I spent like an hour or so editing other chapters, and then once I was kind of like in this like writing flow state, it was easier for me to go into this very heavy scene and write that. Like if I'm in a mood to write a scene, then I feel like I'm a lot more meticulous about my prose. Anyways, now just to talk about how this week sort of went. It's been a strange week, to be honest. I felt like this last week of the year, it was kind of difficult for me to feel focused because with like the holiday season and everything, I feel like there's a lot of distractions. Because for me, I've always treated writing as if it was work. Because it helps me to think seriously about it, to take it seriously. So if I didn't treat it as work, I probably wouldn't get as much progress done as I do. I also feel like doing this experiment during this week has been like, because I'm off from working, it's kind of like, oh, I kind of want to be off from writing too. I think what I've learned from this week is that routine, like a sleeping, working schedule, it's much harder to shift that than I thought. Like I thought like, oh, a couple days and I'll be fine. It was not fine. Every day was hard. Every morning that I tried to write, it was like my brain was just like not focused. The most that I could do was like edit what I had done the previous day, or I would read, like I would read over parts of my draft, or I would read a book to just like get in the writing mood. But despite all of that, I do think that the positives of doing this experiment was that I think that I feel a little more affirmed in my routine, if that makes sense. I think that productivity culture puts a lot of emphasis on front loading your day and, you know, having this like perfect morning routine. While I do agree that being able to wake up and make the most of your day is great, I kind of always had this like voice in the back of my head of like, oh, you know, if you don't front load your day, then you're just like not as put together. Like I didn't feel better about my writing just because I wrote it in the morning. That's not to say that I probably won't ever try doing this again, but it's more that this is like just kind of what my routine is and does work for me at the moment. As a consequence, I do wake up a little bit later and I am a little bit slower in the mornings. The earliest that I could wake up this week was 8 a.m. I didn't wake up any earlier than 8 a.m. this entire week, even though it was my goal to like gradually wake up earlier and earlier. It didn't happen. Those goals completely went out the window. I'm gonna wrap up this vlog here. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. I wouldn't be opposed to doing this again. I think I would like pick a different week, and I think I would try to adjust my sleep schedule a lot more before I actually like start the routine. I think that was kind of the learning takeaway of this entire thing. But we did it. We tried and we kind of failed. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know this vlog was very different from my usual writing vlogs. My content for the new year is kind of up in the air, but I will definitely be taking you guys on this journey of finishing this book. That is all.